What's up guys, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Morgan. I'm a digital marketer turned UX designer, and I make videos talking about my career-changing journey to UX design, how you can change your career as well as the pain of existence. If that kind of content interests you, please make sure to subscribe. So sorry if I sound a little groggy and if it's a little dark. I'm filming this kind of early just because you see I'm in my robe. I clearly just woke up. So I just really wanted to film a video and get this out to you guys. So recently I had this video sent to me. A guy became a UX designer through Career Foundry, realized UX design wasn't for him for various reasons, and went on to be a product owner or product manager. I forget what his title was. The point is that he chose a position outside of UX design. And so what I wanted to do is, for you guys who are aspiring UX designers or you're looking for jobs, I want you to understand what being a UX designer is actually like, so that way you make sure you're going into the right career field. You don't have any expectations that aren't going to be met in your job. But one thing I want to be clear about is that it really all depends on the company that you go with, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but keep that in mind, is that everybody's experience in UX design is unique, because company culture plays a huge part in it. Before I get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that I finally relaunched my website. I'm working to make it more of a resource center for aspiring UX designers. It's morganux.design. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. It's nothing crazy, and it's kind of ironic because I put off launching it for so long because the UI design is terrible. You guys know that I suck at UI design. I work with design systems, thank goodness, at my job. But it's never going to be perfect, so the content is what matters, to me at least. So I'm going to start posting some stuff there that will hopefully help you guys out as aspiring UX designers. Don't forget to follow me on buymeacoffee.com. I also launched mentorship services, so we can video chat and go over your career goals. I have one where I review your portfolio. I have one where I audit your portfolio and send you a report, a combination of those things. So go check out my services if you're interested in a mentorship session. So the first thing that you really need to know, because this is going to be a huge chunk of your day-to-day life as a UX designer, is that your day-to-day is going to be full of meetings and stakeholder management. UX design is a very collaborative role. Again, depends on the company that you're a part of, because if you're part of a startup where there's 4 people, then you may not have as many meetings. If you're the sole UX designer, you may just need to do share outs to the founders or whoever else is a part of this. But at a company where there's different roles, there's an engineer, there's product owners, there's content strategists, UX strategists, and then there's the other teams. If you're if there's a bunch of different teams and departments that have other designers, they're working on other products, you need to collaborate. And then there's leadership meetings where you have to give updates on what you're working on and your designs and everything to see if it fits in with the company's goals and the other products and everything like that. So it's a lot of meetings. There's stand-up in the morning, there's collaboration sessions, there's one-on-one meetings, there's workshops, there's team-wide meetings, there's department-wide meetings, there's company-wide meetings. So lots and lots of meetings. My advice would be to take advantage of these meetings, get to know people, be active, get your name known, participate as much as you can, as long as you're relevant to that meeting. And if you're not relevant, then you probably shouldn't be at that meeting. Number 2 is that you're not always going to be in this discovery phase of creating something new. A lot of being a UX designer, at least at a company where the product is established. You know, it might be different for a startup, but it's going to be a lot of refinement. It's going to be a lot of taking client feedback, applying it to your designs. A lot of things like developers may come across a problem and you need to design a solution for if a customer does something like stupid. Like you have to design for those edge cases. So the position is a lot of refining, a lot of pixel pushing, a lot of documentation, but it ultimately leads to a better product. And if that's what matters to you, then awesome. UX design is probably for you then. If you just want to be this super creative role where you're constantly just creating new things, maybe a freelance role would work better for you, where you're constantly working on new things, or maybe just being like a contractor or something. But being an in-house designer for a company that already has a product established, it's not as creative as you would expect. It can be for sure, it's just not what you do every day. And like I said, if you care about how the product actually turns out, then this shouldn't bother you too much. Number 3, your ideas aren't always going to be best for the company. So as user experience designers, we are advocates for the user, of course, but ultimately the company needs to be able to finance it, right? So you are working for a business, and the point of a UX designer is, yes, to make the clients happy and to make the users happy, but that needs to turn into profit in order for the company to run. So it is a business, and you unfortunately sometimes do have to relent because it doesn't fit in with the goal of what the company is working towards. Like, you might have this great idea, but it may just not fit into the project that the company is trying to move forward with. So not to say that you shouldn't share your ideas and not to say that you shouldn't advocate for the user. I just want you to be aware that the user needs that you have identified may not fit into what the company is looking to do right now. It's very expensive to run a company. So they want the projects that they want finished. Now you might be in a position where, you know, you can take it to a higher up and you start pushing for something, but then that's something that you're going to need to champion, and you have to have solid backing as to why. So don't expect to just constantly be coming up with amazing ideas and you're going to save the company or whatever. I feel like people have this sort of delusion. It's like you're still an employee of the company, and the company goals do matter. Because that's really what you're designing to do, is to make your users happy, to keep your company alive. And as cynical as that sounds, that is the truth, because if the company is not making money, there will be no product and you will have no job. Number 4 is that you may have less power than you think. So at a smaller company or a startup, you may be the sole UX designer. You do UX design, UI design, you do the strategy, you do the content strategy, you are the product owner. Like, UX is completely your department. So this may not apply to you, but you still may not have as much power as you think, because the founders can ultimately shut you down. And they probably will. There are companies, though, I've worked for one, that they really acknowledge that they don't know anything that they're talking about, and they trust you to come up with the ideas and execute on those ideas, and they just have to give the stamp of approval. But in a bigger company, you may be in a larger team where there are other UX designers, there are senior designers, design leads, UX strategists, content strategists, the product owner. So it's not just you are the expert on design and therefore you make the final decisions. It's really a team effort, and you may have to concede to the logic of the other members of your team who may have more expertise in that area. So your great idea, that's a great design solution, may not work for content. It may not work for the user researchers. They'll say, well, our research does not support that decision. So you have to keep that in mind, that it's not all about you. And you may be a great designer, but the other people you're working with should be great at their jobs as well, and you need to listen to that and be collaborative, be open to ideas, and you can come up with great solutions in collaboration with your team members. So it's not just all about you are the UX designer, therefore you make the design decisions, because it's really not like that. Number 5 is that company culture plays a huge part in your experience as a user experience designer. I touched on this a little bit already, but if you're working for a startup, you may be the entire UX department. You have to come up with absolutely everything. It may be you, an engineer, and then 2 founders or something like that. And, that's a huge workload that may be super stressful for you, but it also gives you a lot of power and decision making. You may work for a bigger company and be sort of a cog in the machine, where you really don't have much power, and you've got a bunch of people above you, and you're just designing for whatever decisions they make. That may happen. So basically what I'm trying to say is, when you are interviewing, unless you're like super, I need a job now, really take your time to understand what type of company culture matters to you. I've had a ton of videos on this type of stuff about how to find the UX design job that's right for you. So I hope that you guys really care about who you're interviewing with. Don't try and just suck up to everybody. Actually get information from them to understand what your role will actually be like. So ask them, who would I be working with? Who's on my team? Does the company have an agile or a traditional structure? What would my day-to-day look like? Understand that type of stuff, because you may have a bad experience with a company and then write off UX design as it being not the career for you, when it might have just been that company. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Don't forget to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee. Check out my website if you're interested. There's not a ton on it right now, just some resources, but I'm going to work to keep that updated. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.